Hello everyone and welcome back to the channel. Today we are diving into one of the most fascinating and influential cases in modern American law, Matal vs. Tam, decided by the United States Supreme Court in 2017. This case wasn't just about a band or a name, it was about the power of words, the right to express identity, and the boundaries of free speech. Let's explore how a single trademark dispute reshaped the understanding of the First Amendment in the 21st century. At the heart of Metal vs. Tam lies a powerful question. Can the US government deny a trademark just because it finds the name offensive? On the surface, it sounds simple. Nobody wants hate speech protected, but in a democracy that values free expression, the question becomes much deeper. This case tested the very limits of the First Amendment's protection of free speech, asking whether freedom should be filtered by sensitivity or if it must protect even the words that make us uncomfortable. The story begins with Simon Tam, the founder of an Asian American rock band called the Slants. The band wasn't just trying to offend anyone, quite the opposite. Tam chooses the name to reclaim a racial slur that had been used against Asian Americans for generations. His goal was empowerment, to turn a negative term into a badge of pride and defiance. But when Tam applied to the trademark, the Slants, with the US Patent and Trademark Office, his request was denied. The reason? A section of federal law known as the disparagement clause under the Lanham Act. This clause stated that trademarks which disparage or bring into contempt any person, group, or institution could not be registered. The government urged that granting the trademark would effectively endorse a racial slur, even though Tam was using it for social commentary and identity reclamation. So the central legal question became, does the disparagement clause of the Lanham Act violate the free speech clause of the First Amendment? In other words, can the government restrict trademark registration simply because the name might offend someone? To Simon Tam and his supporter, it wasn't about commercial right. It was about the freedom to define one's own identity and challenge stereotypes. For the government, it was about preventing public offense and keeping official records neutral. The clash between these two views, free expression versus social sensitivity, made this case one of the most important First Amendment battle of the decade. The case reached the United States Supreme Court in 2017 after years of appeals. The decision was unanimous 8-0 in favor of Simon Tam. The court held that the disparagement clause was unconstitutional. Why? Because it discriminated against speech based on viewpoint. The government had been denying trademarks only when it agreed with the message, and that the court said violates one of the most fundamental rules of free speech. The government cannot silence speech simply because it finds it offensive. Justice Samuel Alito, writing for the court, famously said, speech may not be banned on the ground that it expresses ideas that offend. In essence, the court reaffirmed that offensive speech is still protected speech. The Supreme Court's reason behind rested on three powerful ideas. First, viewpoint discrimination. The government cannot favor some viewpoints and reject others. Allowing only pleasant speech means silencing minority or controversial perspectives, exactly what free speech seeks to prevent. Second, private speech, not government speech. The court clarified that trademarks are created and used by private individuals or groups, not by the government. So even if the government registers a trademark, it doesn't mean it endorses the message. Third, true freedom of expression. The First Amendment protects expression precisely because it can challenge, provoke, and even disturb. Protecting only agreeable speech isn't freedom at all. It's censorship wrapped in comfort. These principles made Matal vs. Tam a cornerstone case for protecting speech in cultural and artistic expression. The impact of Matal vs. Tam extended far beyond one band. It threatened free speech rights for artists, entrepreneurs, and anyone seeking to express identity or opinion. Even though something as small as a name or a logo, the ruling also set the stage for another major case, Iancu vs. Brunetti 2019. In that case, the Supreme Court struck down a similar ban on immoral or scandalous trademark, further commenting the idea that government cannot act as a moral gatekeeper for speech. Beyond trademarks, Matal vs. Tam became a symbol of cultural empowerment and legal clarity. It reminded Americans that protecting freedom means tolerating disagreement, because the right to offend and the right to speak are inseparable in a free society. At its core, Matal vs. Tam is a case about identity, art, and principle. It reminds us that the freedom of speech means protecting all viewpoints, not just the ones we agree with. Simon Tam's victory wasn't about encouraging offensive language. It was about defending the idea that government cannot decide what is acceptable expression. In a world where opinions often clash and words can wound, this case stands as a reminder that true liberty is not about comfort but about courage. The courage to let every voice be heard. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this video helped you understand how Matal vs. Tam case of 2017 became a defining moment for freedom of expression in the United States. If you enjoyed this video, please don't forget to like, share and subscribe to support the channel. This is Vishesh Vrittan Srivastava signing off with one thought: freedom of speech isn't just a right, it's the voice of democracy itself. See you in the next video.